Genesis 15. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless? And the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Then the word of the Lord came to him, This man will not be your heir, but a son, who is your own flesh and blood, will be your heir. He took him outside and said, Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, So shall your offspring be. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. He also said to him, I am the Lord, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it? So the Lord said to him, Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon. Abram brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half. Then birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to him, Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the 4th generation your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking fire pot with a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, To your descendants I give this land, from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river the Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. Genesis 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, The Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her. Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai his wife took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to a husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarai said to Abram, You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me. Your slave is in your hands, Abram said. Do with her whatever you think best. Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress Sarai, she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, Go back to your mistress and submit to her. The angel added, I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count. The angel of the Lord also said to her, You are now pregnant, and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility toward all his brothers. She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. You are the God who sees me, for she said, I have now seen the one who sees me. That is why the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. It is still there, between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had borne. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael.
Hi guys, welcome back to God's Faith and Love. So what we do is we pick out we're on chapter 15 in Genesis, chapter 15 and 16. So what we do is pick out an interesting fact or something that pops out to us. And so here it is in chapter Genesis 15. Here's what pops out to me. This is the story of Abram and having no kids. And he says, verse 5, he took him outside and said, look up to the heavens and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, so shall your offspring be. Verse 6, Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him in his righteousness. So God spoke to Abram and said, this is how your offspring is going to be. If you could count the stars, this is how your offspring is going to be. That means we all know how hard it is to count the stars. I mean, we look up and try to count them all the time. We can't count them. It's impossible. Only God knows how many stars there is. This is what's so cool about this story and this early chapter in the Bible, is that Abram's family is probably, most likely, is still alive today. That's what's so cool about it. And you never know who you're talking to, who could be an ancestor all the way back to Abram, which is really cool to understand that his family is still probably, most likely, still alive today. And then, if we go to chapter 16, this is talking about Abram's wife Sarah, and she has no children during this time, and her maidservant, who is an Egyptian named Hagar, has a child, and she got pregnant by Abram, and this is what the Lord says to her, because Sarah got jealous and told Hagar to run away. And so God came to her, and this is what God spoke to Hagar. She said, to the name of the Lord who spoke to her, you are the God who's seen me. For she said, I have now seen the one who's seen me. So the Lord actually spoke to her and said, your son will be called Ishmael, and that is the name that she gave him. And it's really cool to know this, because she gave him Egypt, and we know that most people in Egypt didn't believe in God. So she probably, as she traveled with Sarah and being her servant, she probably grew closer to God. But now she's really seeing God for her first time in her life. She's really understanding that God is will and God is there. So she did go back, and she did become a servant again back to Sarah and Abram. And just a really cool story, and trustworthy, that she trusted God. So it's have a great day, you guys. God bless. Love you guys. Bye.